State Representative Jeffrey Elmore with your weekly session update for May 27th. A lot of action going on at the General Assembly as normal with session going on. A few things I want to talk about. So a couple of bills that have passed. I want to talk to you a little bit about the unemployment benefits update and talk to you a little bit about Memorial Day. So let's get into it. We passed two bills today, or this week, that dealt with a couple of issues. First is the HIE Deadline Extension and Patient Protection Act. Basically what this is a deadline that we had to meet dealing with the communication of medical systems between one another, basically making sure that their computers are talking to one another and that the exchange of information is kept safe and that it's more seamless. This passed 109-0 and it's now in the Senate, so it should make your doctor visits and when you go to a different doctor and the communication with your pharmacy, it should streamline that greatly to help as technology improves. We also passed HB 947, Growing Rural Economies with Access to Technology, the great grant program dealing with broadband expansion. So what this does, it basically infuses more money into our GREAT program. And this is the vehicle that we're using to get broadband money out into the state to where we can expand fiber lines to try to ensure that every North Carolinian has access to internet. To give you some numbers with this, the bill distributes $750 million of the federal funding to expand high-speed broadband internet access in all 100 counties, and it also allocates $400 million to a newly established Completing Access to Broadband. We're calling that the CAB program, which will be made available to every county to help close broadband gaps. And what we mean by broadband gaps is basically if you have a road and the broadband's on the road, but the little side road doesn't have access to the line, it is to help aid taking it up that little side road. It also provides $350 million for the GREAT program that we created in 2018. So a lot, millions of dollars here that we're leveraging the federal money for, and we're also leveraging additional federal money at the federal level with this to try to get those lines all across the state. This is going to be an issue that we're going to be working on probably for the next 5 years or more to try to grow this infrastructure. So that's exciting, especially for the southern part of the district. There's more resources available to try to make sure that all areas of Alexander County are covered and the spots that are in Wilkes also. I want to talk to you a little bit about the unemployment benefits. I've been getting several calls from employers, even manufacturer that's in Alexander County, on the need for workers and that they're having major difficulty hiring folks. They cannot get them. And it is an interesting job climate right now. I looked at the unemployment numbers for Wilkes, and we are floating around 4% unemployment, which actually means we're at full employment if you're under 5%. But what has happened is many have just quit looking for jobs totally. They have spun out of the unemployment system. So with concerns with this, there's several factors that I think are playing with this. I think that some of it is the supplemental federal benefit that is coming with the unemployment. Also, currently we do not have any sort of work search requirement because all of that was waived due to COVID. Well, we're moving out of COVID now, and the employers are needing these workers, and the wage pressure is there. I'm seeing many of the manufacturing entities will start you out at $15 an hour or more in the door. Also, we're seeing signing bonuses provided by employers ranging from $500 to even $5,000, I heard on the radio the other day, for folks who have CDLs. So how do we get this fixed? Myself and 59 other of the House Republicans wrote the governor a letter and stated you need to put the work search requirements back in. And what the work search requirements are is if you're on unemployment in normal conditions before all of these waivers, you would have to make 5 contacts a week for employment. and to get feedback from them if you can get the job or not. And if you cannot, after making those 5 contacts, find work, you have to contact the workforce office to get enrolled into some sort of training program. All of that was waived during COVID, and it's all at Governor Cooper's discretion. We sent the letter, and within 2 days, the governor issued the order, Executive Order 216, which reinstated the work search requirements back to 5 contacts, and also if you do not get employed there, that you have to sign up in some sort of workforce training. That will implement in June 6th, according to the executive order that was issued. So just a heads up on that. I think we ought to take a step further and go ahead and phase out the supplemental federal unemployment benefit that is making the unemployment benefit so high. I think that would also help inject the workers into the workforce. There's been over 20-some, 30-some states that have already made that move. They said, we just want to go ahead and phase that out instead of it going all the way through September, to where we can go ahead and get those workers back in the workforce. Even our senators at the federal level, Senator Burr and Senator Tillis, have communicated with our governor's office to go ahead and make that move too. But just like with the work requirements, all of this is at the discretion of Governor Cooper. So I hope that he's thinking about our workforce needs and getting these folks back into the workforce, because the wages are there, wages that we've never seen for many of the level of workers. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the email newsletter. I send out an email newsletter once a month that shows all of the actions for the month and kind of important issues that are happening with the state. If you're interested in having more detail than what you're getting from this, you can sign up for the newsletter through jeffreyelmore.com, and that's JEFFREYELMORE.com, and sign up for the newsletter. I would highly encourage you to do that. Also, coming up Monday is a very important day, probably the most important day of the year, really, for the United States. It's Memorial Day. Please remember what the real reason for Memorial Day is. It's not going to the beach or going on that first picnic or the opening day of summer. It is truly to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, our military, that fell in action in their service. And because of their sacrifice, we're free, and we're blessed because of them. And we need to remember all of those who have fallen, all the men and women who have given their lives to preserve our freedom. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for listening to the session update.